When it comes to public key cryptography, there are private and public keys which are related. You can share your public key with anyone, but you must keep your private key secure. If someone gets your private key in clear text, the encryption is compromised. Let's start by creating a new key pair. You can generate as many key pairs as you want. GPG --gen -key. And the standard dialog for generating the key pair pops up. To generate the key, I have to enter my name and my email address. Let's say Andrei and andrei@somedomain.com. To help safeguard my key, GNU Privacy Guard does not store my private key in clear text on the disk. Instead, it encrypts it using a symmetric encryption algorithm. That is why it's prompting for a passphrase. Thus, there are two barriers an attacker must cross to access my private key. He must actually acquire the key and he must get past the encryption. And I'm writing a password. This is just for this test, but you should use a passphrase that is at least 8 characters long. The private and the public keys were generated. Maybe you wonder where the keys are saved. All GPG keys are stored in what is called a keyring. On Linux, this is a hidden directory called .gnupg in the user's home directory. This one. On Windows, the keys are saved in a directory called GnuPG in the app data directory of the user. Note that app data is a hidden directory on Windows. Running GPG ---- version like this will show you the path being used. This is where the keyring is saved. Let's take a look at the public keys stored in the keyring GPG --list -keys. I listed my public key and other people's public key I have imported into the keyring. And if I want to list my own private key, I execute GPG --list -secret keys. I see the public key cryptographic algorithm used, which is in this case RSA 3072. The generation and the expiration dates and the key fingerprint. GPG provides a unique identifier for each key pair. There is both a short and a long GPG key ID, which consists of 8 hexadecimal digits for the short ID and of 16 hex digits for the long version. This ID is important when you want to perform operations like importing or exporting the keys. You can find it adding the --key ID - format to the GPG command that lists the keys like this. --key ID -format short. This is the short ID of the key, and the long ID like this. This is the long ID of the key. Having the key pair ID, we can export the keys in binary or ASCII form. Let's export the private key into text or ASCII format in order to back it up somewhere. GPG -export -secret -keys -armor and the key ID. It's prompting for the passphrase and it has printed out the private key. This is the private key. This very long string. If you want to save it to a file, you use the output redirection operator. Greater than, let's say private dot ASC from ASCII. Perfect. This is the private key. It was saved into a file. If you want to export the public key, you use a very similar command. Instead of export secret keys, I use only export. And I redirect the public key to a file called public.pub. This is the public key. The exported keys can be imported back into the GPG keyring later. Let's move on and see how to delete a private key from the local storage. GPG --delete -secret -keys and the key ID. There is a typo, keys. And it wants a confirmation. One more time and delete key. Once you delete a key, there is no way to recover it. The private key was deleted, but the public key was not. If I execute gpg --list keys, I'll see the public key in the keyring. To delete a public key, I have to execute gpg --delete -keys and of course the key ID. It's the same key ID. gpg -list -keys will display an empty keyring. Let's go ahead and see how to import a public or a private key into the GPG keyring from a file. Most of the time you import your private key on a new computer or after a fresh install. On the other hand, somebody else's public key is imported to send him an encrypted message or to verify a digital signature. The next command is the same for importing both public and private keys. gpg --import and the path to the private key file. In this case, it's private.asc. And it was imported. You can import the private key without asking for the passphrase, adding the --batch option like this. First, I'll delete the key. And I'll import the private key again, adding --batch option. And it was imported without asking for the passphrase. And finally, let's import the public key, gpg --import public.pub, the public key file. It was imported. Okay, that's all. In the next lecture, we'll discuss GPG key servers.